sometimes you just mess it all up. So CBS 70 kickoff is deep, and it's going to be off the net. It's going to be grabbed by Isaiah Scott. Isaiah Scott makes one man miss the end zone.
Breaks it to the near side. Stop. 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown. Mike.
Walks it right in.
Play on that ball right over top of the defender. And more importantly, see the replay here. He put Caleb Smith in motion to Jonathan Banks. Just do a little swing pass. And Caleb Smith with the rest.
There. He's got to lane in the middle if he can get past him. And he might be good for a touchdown. There it is. And wow! Trayvon Sidney straight down the middle. Pulls a move on the kicker. And he's in the end zone for about 60 seconds.
And we're back with another episode of Arena Football Weekly. I'm Adam. That's Trey. Trey, how you doing? You were on the ground in Fishers. How was that? What was it all like on the ground?
Yeah, boots on the ground in Fishers.
Before we get too far, Bruce, cheers.
There we go. Got a little spin drift today. Nothing too crazy.
I'm working through the PBR leftover from a party a couple weeks ago.
But yeah, boots on the ground in Fishers. It was a really good time. Fishers knows how to throw a party, and a football game broke out there. Yeah, just on and off the field, Fishers has got a really good thing going there. Met a ton of really great people, really great fans. I forgot I had the stickers on me, so people were coming up to me and saying, hey, and they were like, hey, how's it going? I'm like, hey, nice to meet you. Then I would walk away, and I'm like, God, I forgot the stickers. So I gave out a ton of stickers, met a ton of folks, chatted with players and all sorts of people, and it was just such a fun time. Fishers has a great atmosphere, so if you are within driving distance of Fishers, go to a Fishers Freight game. You will not be disappointed.
No, I mean, it looked like a great environment, great game happening on the field too. Great first half.
Mm-hmm.
Second half was still good, but not as good as the first half.
Yeah.
I don't know if the Monstars came in at halftime and sapped Quad City of their powers. I'm still not exactly sure what happened. I'm waiting for the rewatch to come up because I need to rewatch it because it was really good. And then all of a sudden it turned into a runaway Fishers train. And it just, I don't know. Like, what was your take on that? Like, because it was a battle. It looked like we were going to get just a shootout.
Yeah.
After the first half, and then the second half, it was just done.
Yeah, it was like 45 points, I think, scored in the first half alone, and I was like, "Oof, we might be in for a long one today." But yeah, the Fishers D line, I think, is one of their strengths as a team, and they were just cooking the Quad City O line. They were just having their way with them, especially in that second half. And Quad City, they didn't have any answers. They didn't score after the 9:09 mark in the third quarter. Until the rest of the game.
That was just brutal. Like
That's
can't
insane.
go that long in the 50-yard game without putting points on the board. It's just, it's absolutely imperative that you score on most possessions. It should be one stop wins the game, but we're seeing a lot of good defense lately in the modern era, and that's really making a difference. But again, I didn't think Fishers was going to be able to stop that Quad City offense, and they figured out a way to do it, which is huge.
Yeah, they were able to come up with some stops in that second half. And I think the Quad City team as a whole, they'll be fine. That offense, you could tell they had some good things going in the first half. They just got to figure some things out. Keon Williams coming in with 3 touchdowns in his first half of football with Quad City. I'm like, okay, he's about to do it again this upcoming year, isn't he? But yeah, it just felt like Quad City didn't really have any answers in that second half. And I was talking with Nate Tice after the game, and he was telling me, he was like, yeah, like Fishers was answering, but Quad City wasn't answering the answer. And so it just became a very dominant half by Fishers. And Fishers look really, really good coming out of the gate, and they're looking like they're going to have a fantastic year ahead.
Yeah. I mean, and it was a good game. It was a great start. Wonderful watching the game on Yahoo. Absolutely loved it. And then on Monday night, we got some Monday Night Football. I saw highlights. I was a little occupied with curling,
Yeah.
but it did not go the way I thought it was going to go. Green
No,
Bay
not at
showed
all.
up, showed
Yeah.
up and showed out.
Yeah, that Green Bay defense, hats off to them for really putting the clamps on this Vegas offense in the first half. That D line was disruptive, and they were able to break through and stop the run, and they were able to rattle Jaden Delora a little bit. And throughout the game, I was just saying to myself, like, if Jaden Delora calms the F down, Vegas puts points on the board, but they were just getting to him, and he was a little more frantic than you would hope at times. But they eventually came back and made it a game.
Yeah, really a tale of two halves. I mean, Green Bay up 23-7 at half was not something anybody had on their bingo cards. And then Vegas comes storming back with 28 points in the second half to end up losing by 2. So they're in the game. They're right there. Game came down. Bet you Vegas wish they had a deuce in there.
Yeah.
And kind of make it a little better.
Yeah, and that's the thing with Vegas. They had the ball at like the 3-yard line with 18 seconds left. Like they were it looked like they were going to punch it in, and Green Bay was going to have to come up with some magic in the last 15 seconds of the game. But a costly turnover at the very end there by the reigning Offensive Player of the Year, Josh Thomas, his second fumble of the game. So that's something to kind of keep an eye on some Vegas games moving forward and see if that's a pattern or they get that corrected. But had a chance to speak with Coach Mike Davis this week, and he feels fine. Well, obviously the game didn't go the way he wanted, but he was very optimistic about cleaning things up and being able to get the team on the right path.
No, and I think the big thing that stands out to me is just if you can, Green Bay, Liam Thompson wasn't bad for Green Bay, but Liam Thompson wasn't moving the ball great through the air. Yeah. High completion percentage, 98 yards, 2 touchdowns, but I don't know that he's going to scare you over the top. So it seems like Green Bay really is going to want to play a ground and pound ball control kind of offense. So if you can put them into a track meet, I think you're going to wrong foot them. And I wonder if Vegas gets started with the scoring in the second quarter as opposed to the second half, how does this game turn out differently?
Yeah. This Green Bay team felt like the 2024 Green Bay team where it was the defense was absolutely dominant and the offense was doing just enough. While 2025, the offense was dominant and the defense was doing just enough. So it's like we're flip-flopping between a defensive identity, offensive identity. Now we're back to a defensive identity. But I got that same feeling from Liam Thompson at the quarterback spot where mobility-wise, they were using him in the running game a ton. 14 carries, 59 yards, and 2 touchdowns on the ground. He's leading the league in rushing yards right now. So he was obviously doing something right. But through the air, it was just all hitches and the occasional crosser. And I was like, man, if this is it, this might be the best offensive performance you see out of this Green Bay team. I mean,
but hitches are a super important part of the 50-yard game just because so much of it is reads, and they're not necessarily hitches. It's a hitch and go, similar to, it's a Mike Leach concept. I don't know if he borrowed it from Arena, but Mike Leach's 4 verts is really 4 option routes across the field. And I feel like that's more what it is in Arena football, where you have the quarterback and the receiver reading the coverage. And if they have it, they stop the route and turn it into that hitch. And everybody else is pushing it down the field. So the hitch is like integral. Every great Arena quarterback I've talked to has been like, it's just a hitch and it's a hitch and go. Like there's hitches and there's goes and that's it. Indoor, you're getting work the middle of the field a bit more with maybe some mesh concepts, but you're not going to see him push the ball. So he's taking what the defense is giving him, which is great. But again, the question is can they find a way to work the downfield passing a little bit more? Because 11 for 98, under 10 yards of completion, not terrible, not great though, just not a world-beating performance where I'm like, oh my God, Liam Thompson. And again, if I'm grounding and pounding and I'm keeping them out of the end zone, now all of a sudden I feel good if I can go over the top and beat this Green Bay defense once or twice, which is hard to do.
Yeah. It felt like I just walking away from the game, I was like, what a win for Green Bay, but I wasn't and like overly optimistic either. I'm like, this could be a long one. Like if they don't stretch things out a little bit in the aerial attack. But it was a great win by Green Bay to knock off the champs. And I thought it was funny how Vegas last year won on a last second defensive stop. Green Bay this year won on a last second defensive stop. So traded blows, and we'll see if they meet again in the future.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, got a text I needed to respond to. So heading over to the NAL, just a quick check in there. Week 2 went mostly how we thought it would go. Sioux City handled Amarillo. Southwest Kansas, it beat Louisiana, but Louisiana was so chaotic that they were able to come back.
Right.
And then we had a good game and then Colorado handled Dallas.
Yeah.
Salina did its business against a non-league team. And the big one was Pueblo versus Omaha. And Pueblo took care of business. I mean, Pueblo went into Omaha in a tough spot, shut them down to close out the game, and finish strong.
Yeah, the Pueblo Omaha game was the only one I was able to catch with all the travel with Fishers and everything. But it seemed like that was the only one worth catching in some ways. Mm-hmm. So yeah, catching that one, and it was another tale of two halves where Omaha was just rolling in that first half. And shout out to Otis Odom, 204 kick return yards on a 50-yard field. That's insane. And he
Otis
was
Odom
the only thing.
What did I tell you? I told you Otis Odom is just a dynamic game breaker. And Omaha needs to figure out a way to get the ball in that man's hands more often. It's going to be interesting to see. They're making the shift. They're making a shift there because they released their starting quarterback from last week. So we think they're going to turn to Demery Croft.
Yeah, they're going back to Demery Croft. Yeah.
Can he be the Demery Croft he once was?
Right.
That we saw for a season and a half and haven't seen since.
Yeah. Yeah, Croft balled out in that preseason game that was against the non-league opponent, but again, that's a non-league opponent, right? So it's something where
you did what you were supposed to do.
Exactly. So I think he was hurt for for this first game rather against Pueblo. So yeah, Tyler Lowenstein got in there, and this offense just struggled for Omaha. There were points in the second half I was like, who is this team that's wearing an Omaha Beef jersey on my phone right now? Like, I don't recognize who these people are. And I think there was a point in the fourth quarter, the announcer team, the home announcer team, mind you, said the Omaha Beef offense has to go 39 yards to score a touchdown. The bad news is they have 58 yards of offense all day. And it was the fourth quarter.
No, they were dependent upon Otis Odom. It was the Otis Odom special teams show.
Yeah,
and like how are you not getting the ball into his hands more often? Like, that's what I can't get over. It's like Otis Odom is a game breaker. He's got the speed, he's got everything. He's been that every year. Why does he not have the ball in his hands on as many plays as you're able to get him? And I don't think he touched the ball offensively.
Yeah, they were using him almost exclusively on special teams, just trying to get a pulse on offense, and there was just no pulse at all. Pueblo, hats off to Pueblo for doing what they need to do and taking care of business. They rattled off a 32 to 0 run to end the game, which is just insane. They totally blanked the Omaha offense in the second half. First Omaha home opener loss, I think, since 2021, and the same for the season opener as well. So, Omaha, they got a tough one this upcoming week against Salina, and Demery Croft has to be the guy. Because if they are not able to put together a win, it's going to be a problem.
Otis Odom, 0 offensive touches.
when the guy is your only source of life with the ball in his hands, you gotta find a way. Do a jet sweep, do a pitch, literally do anything. Yeah, that was a rough one for Omaha, but hats off to Pueblo.
No, I mean, and Joel Shaw continues to be great. Aaron Dilworth and Patrick McSweeney both handled business, and Josh Hollins continues to do Josh Hollins things. Like,
Yeah, that
I mean,
McSweeney catch in the end zone was nice. That was a
it
great
was
throw by
great.
Collins.
That was a monster play. Just
Yeah.
Pueblo came out swinging, stood toe to toe with them. Great to see. Like, they were down. They were down big on the back of those special teams, but they just came roaring back, and that was great to see. You love to see it. You really do.
Yeah.
So, I think that's enough NAL and IF. Or I think that's enough recap. I mean, we got some previewing of teams to go. We got what do we got? We got 5 teams to do today.
Yeah, we got 5 IFL teams making their season debut this upcoming weekend. 4 of them against each other. One of them facing a team from week 1. So we're gonna just run down the old list here and kind of give some thoughts on what to expect. And I have it organized in two different categories for each team. I have strengths and I have things to monitor. I'm not going to say weaknesses because we are a positive, uplifting program.
I prefer questions. I have questions.
Strengths.
I have questions.
Here, compromise. Things to monitor? Question mark?
Yes, things to monitor with a question mark.
With a question mark. There we go.
I mean, that's the biggest thing. It's the things to monitor with the question mark. That is, it's important. Like, it's important to know, what are we worried about? What are the concerns we have about this team? Because, I mean, we talked about it, and some of them have answered the bell so far. Like, we worried, could Fishers score points with Quad City? Yes. And could Fisher's defense shut down, and would Quad City's offensive line be an issue? Yes, it was.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
And then the same thing with Green Bay. Could their offense put up enough points? Liam Thompson showed up and played a good game. So, I mean, really, you should be happy if we're questioning your team, because every question that we've asked has led to success for those teams. So at least you want me questioning. Trey knows more than I do, but I will continue to ask questions and just put a jinx and put a reverse jinx on these teams.
That's what you want. Listen, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Keep reverse jinxing.
So where you want to get us started in this preview first?
I think we can start in Iowa. I think Iowa's a good spot here. Iowa's in an interesting situation. Roster-wise, coaching-wise, obviously a brand new start from the past few years with Coach Andre Coles, friend of the program, coming in there and taking over and trying to breathe some new life into a team that was 1-15 last year and was seemingly getting the doors blown off them every other week. I think
Despite
gave up
being an absolutely explosive offensive team.
Right. And that's the thing. On offense, they were scoring 52, 53 a game, which is fantastic, but it's not good enough when your defense is giving up 60 a game. So it was something where heading into this offseason, I'm like, how much are they actually going to retain from this 1-15 team? You wouldn't think very much, but surprisingly, so the most of the pieces that they have retained are from the defensive side of the ball on the defensive line and at around the linebacker spot and a couple DBs. So they have some continuity from last year. Tyler Tate, he's a defensive lineman. I really like Tyler Tate. He is awesome. They need to get a couple more Tyler Tates on that D line to get some pressure on the quarterback. Jared Saad coming back on the secondary. Raheem Harvey coming back at wide receiver, longtime IFL vet, been around for years and years and years. And they brought in some key pieces from around the IFL. Taylor Hawkins from Tulsa coming over in the defensive backfield. Khalil Finley coming over from Green Bay at DB as well. So they're getting some pieces with some familiarity with the coaching staff there, but they've got a ton of rookies on this roster. They've got 15 rostered rookies, which is a lot. So I think that's one of the things to monitor. Question mark is which rookies step up and which rookies are going to cement themselves as starters in this league.
Yeah. I mean, and I think it starts at just, we got a big question mark at quarterback. I mean, you have Harry Rubidoux, who, spent time with the Strike Force. I'm not as familiar. How much did he actually play with the Strike Force last year?
He held that clipboard like a champ.
I mean, somebody's
about it.
Yeah. So you got him and you got a rookie,
an
older rookie, though, in Ivan Corbin. I mean, he's been out of school since like 22, 23, bounced around a bit, spent time at Carson Newman. where he completed about 50% of his passes, but is a, solid runner, averaged almost 50 yards a game in the outdoor and 7 touchdowns. So
Yeah.
a little bit of differences there. Robideau is less of a rusher, and I guess you could call him more of a passer, but he's not necessarily a more accurate passer, as he was closer to 1-to-1 than he was 2-to-1 for his touchdown to interception ratio in college. And so it's going to be interesting. I mean, it's a rebuilding team. I imagine they're changing their offensive philosophy from the bombs away to a little bit more of a traditional arena style. So I think it's going to be interesting. It's all about how those rookies step up, and how do you get started here in year one with Coach Coles?
Yeah, and especially when you look at that group of 15 rookies, 5 of them are at wide receiver. That's a lot of youth in the wide receiver room with one of the longest vets in the game, Raheem Harvey. So Raheem is going to have to share a lot of that wisdom very, very quickly to help this offense roll. But something I thought about while gathering some notes for this, Coach Coles, friend of the program, love Coach Coles, love chopping it up with him, love talking ball. This is going to be his first year in over 3 years without TJ Edwards as his quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So what is this going to look like? Do we see a similar offense that, like, it's almost like a chicken and egg type thing? Like, does Coach Coles make the TJ Edwards offense roll, or does TJ Edwards make the Coach Coles off? Like, I think we're going to get some answers on that.
Yeah. And it's really hard to know, until we start seeing everything in action. I mean, that's just, it's a question. It's a question. What does the offense look like with 2 inexperienced quarterbacks? One guy, I'm curious. I've been trying to find what Ivan Corbin's been doing since 22, 23, 23, 24. So I'm always curious about that. Like, are they working out? Are they coaching? Did he play overseas? There could be some good experiences in there for Corbin, but and college production does not necessarily translate to pro success. So, but as we say, it's a question. It's a things we're wondering about, is what does the offense look like? Because it won't be what it was, but can it be enough to win more than one ball game?
Yeah, I think Corbin might have signed with the Blizzard like training camp last year, or like a little bit before, but obviously didn't like spend too much time with it. So I think he's been in the IFL sphere for a little bit, and like he knows people who know him, and that's probably how things all fell into place here. But Iowa, big year of transition from the past couple years where things were just going out of control very, very quickly. Coach Cole's got his work cut out for him with this group, and a very tough Eastern Conference. But this should be a good year for Iowa compared to last year, because it honestly can't get much worse.
I mean, it can always get worse.
Fair.
It can always get worse.
Yeah.
Where are we headed next? We're up in Iowa right now. We heading out to the West Coast, down to the Southwest, or are we going out to Florida? Which way you want to go?
Yeah, let's keep it in the Eastern Conference. Let's go down to Florida. The Orlando Pirates. Day one, Orlando Pirates fan here. Nobody's been a Pirates fan longer, or an Orlando Pirates fan longer than I. When you're looking at the strengths here, there are lots of things to really be thrilled with roster-wise. Looking at this roster up and down. Starting at the running back position, Puka Williams, he was dynamic last year. He was the Pirates offense last year. Through the running game, through the passing game, he really played that Jimmy Robinson role very, very well, and he was able to keep that offense going when it was looking like the quarterback position wasn't going to be able to provide. But this wide receiver group for Orlando is deadly. They have one of the best wide receiver groups in all of indoor arena football, 50-yard football, whatever label you want to put on it. This group is up there. They got Nyquan Murray, T.O. Redding, Thomas Owens, who retired last year, but then the Pirates moved to his neck of the woods, and he was like, you know what? I got one more in me. Let's go. So Thomas Owens coming back, franchise leader in every category imaginable for the Pirates. You put those 3 on the field, who do you cover? And then you got Puka coming out of the backfield. This Pirates offense can be very, very fun if they can get production out of the quarterback spot. And that's the biggest thing to monitor for this Pirates team is Talia Tagovailoa, Big Ten all-time passer, all this, all that in terms of yardage. Is he the guy? In limited action last year, there wasn't anything that was like, let's run it back, let's do it. I personally didn't see it.
No, I mean, and that's kind of the challenging part is like, what are you going to do? You know, do you give a guy, and this is the thing, are you giving him the chance to develop this year? Like, is that the plan? Is we're going to try to see if he can develop and grow and get better? Or are we just waiting until we find out if we can get somebody else? If somebody comes off a roster, because there's always something, there's always somebody who comes out late that we weren't expecting. So I just don't, I'm with you. I don't know that I trust him to be the guy. I don't know that I trust him to, be the breakout star this year, but he has the receiving core, which I think is important. I think the receiving core and who you have matters a lot. Having the strong run game with a versatile back like Puka is spectacular because Puka is just can do it all. Played receiver, played back, all over the place. Spectacular. Love it, love it, love it. But again, we don't know. We won't know until we get to the end of the year on whether they can deliver it or not, and whether Talia Tagovailoa is it. Yeah. I mean, that's the big question: is can he be the guy for Mass? Because the rest of the roster, solid, locked in.
It looks great. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, just get the ball out of his hands. Like, if he's holding the ball for longer than 2 or 3 seconds, you got a problem. Like, you gotta go. If it's not there, get it to Puka. If it's like snap, where's Naquan? Throw. Like, it needs to leave his hands ASAP as possible. But when thinking about Talia, I'm curious about this. Like, what are your thoughts on this? So he resigns with the Pirates before the coaching staff is in place. So to me, that kind of has a question of, is this the guy that the coaching staff prefers, or is this the guy that they have to use because they signed him?
That was going to be my question. Can Paxton DeLorean come in and take this job?
Potentially.
Because he's a passer, bigger, 6'5", 229, didn't play in as prestigious a conference, but we see small school guys succeed all the time. Spent some time with the Bills and Chiefs in the NFL. I'm just reading his bio, but this matters. Like, 2 of the best teams in the NFL said, yeah, let's take a look at this dude. And, 33 touchdowns and 4,000 yards in college is nothing to sneeze at, even if it's in the Big South Ohio Valley Conference. So he is definitely this coaching staff's guy, unlike Talia.
Yeah, so to me, that's going to be interesting to kind of monitor and just see how quickly do they pivot to someone that might be a little bit more aligned with somebody that works in that Rod Windsor offense, where Josh Jones was a superstar these past couple of years in Northern Arizona and in Bay Area, both with Coach Moss and Coach Windsor. So to
Have we
me,
seen them say that they're naming a starter yet? Definitely.
I haven't seen one way or another. I would assume, just from a consistency standpoint, from like a rollover from year over year, I'd assume it's Talia, but I don't know. We'll find out when they hit the field in New Mexico. But like you said, this Pirates roster all across the board is solid. The DB group is big. Like they got a 6'3", a 6'3", a 6 foot, a 6'1". These are some tall DBs, but only a couple of them have any experience in the indoor game. So that might be a little bit of an adjustment, but the caliber of players they've been bringing in is very impressive. And this Pirates team, I have a feeling Coach Keefe and Coach Moss will be able to get these folks into shape and get them on the positive side of the win-loss column.
Yeah, and I think of this a little this is like almost Albany Firebirds 2024-esque for me, where I was like, okay, so they have this baller receiving core, but who the hell is their quarterback? You know, what is going to happen with Medlock? Like, Jake Medlock had never done anything in the 50-yard game prior to that year. And he came out and he played very well, was tough under center, played great for them. So it worked.
Yeah.
Who knows? Can DeLorean or Tagovailoa have a year like that? They might be able to. But it's very clear that this team wants to throw first and ask questions later. And they're going to let Puka handle the bulk of the running.
As they should. And I think the IFL MVP is typically a quarterback heavy award because, you know, they're touching the ball every play and they're usually the ones, you know, running it in and passing it in. But based on Puka's use rate last year, heading into this year, I think he could be a sneaky little nominee for MVP as well if he's able to get enough touches.
IFL MVP odds anywhere? Because I would sprinkle on that.
Yeah, sprinkle a little bit on there just for funsies, just to see what would happen.
Yeah. So, but I think Orlando trying to have a big year, move into a new home, you know, and they're going to have a good team. So I think that's going to work out well for them.
Yeah, good team and a good conference. All those Orlando games are going to be very fun to watch.
All right, where are we headed to next?
Well, who does Orlando face this upcoming weekend in their opening season matchup? They face the New Mexico Chupacabras. The New Mexico Chupacabras, led by quarterback Jerome Johnson, 2024 IFL MVP. And for New Mexico, it's very simple. This team goes as far as Jerome can take them. I love Jerome Johnson. He has such a high ceiling in terms of what he can do. And some of the highlights you see from him, it's like, holy cow. This guy just tucked it and ran for 48 yards down the field, and nobody even came close to touching him. But then on the opposite side of that, sometimes gets a little loose with the ball at times, and ultimately is what led to Jaden Delora being the starting quarterback in Vegas last year towards the end of the season. So Jerome, very talented player. The rest of the group on offense is a mega wait and see situation because they have a decent group of wide receivers. Yeah, lots of things to monitor.
And we're waiting to see what the cuts look like. Like, we don't have an official roster post cuts, which is interesting. You know, there's some rumors that some guys have turned to other leagues, you know, or might have gotten cut already and then just went back to other leagues. So it's going to be very interesting to see what this team looks like when they trot onto the field to take on Orlando. And again, as we said, Jerome Johnson's going to have this team competitive. They're going to be able to stay in some games because of Jerome Johnson. The question is how many games will Jerome Johnson lose them, and how many games will Jerome Johnson win them?
Exactly. Yeah. When Jerome's good, he is great.
He's been a dynamic player since college. You know, was spectacular at Bowie State, and just absolute baller from start to finish. Athletic, throws a great ball. I've talked to coaches who have coached him, and it's just nothing but praise for this guy about how good a player he is.
Yeah, and I think flipping over to the other side of the ball for New Mexico, if you're looking for a strength on defense, I got to say you look at the linebacker spot. We got Wesley Bowers coming over from Bay Area, dominant run with them. And then you got the return of Jason Serta, who played with Duke City a few years back and was a mainstay of the Albuquerque indoor football scene for a couple of years in Duke City. So Bowers is great, fantastic, really good at rushing the quarterback. So I'm not sure, like, we typically don't see two linebackers on the field at any given time, but given that is the strength of this team on paper, I wouldn't be surprised if you see both of them out there and they find ways to get creative in using each of them.
Yeah, I'm curious. Again, I'm always curious how teams construct their roster. 4 linebackers in camp on the camp roster feels like a lot to carry. Do you cut it down to 2? Do you keep it at 1? And do you use, do you keep a bigger DB there to play linebacker if needed? Just Do you rotate your defensive line through? That construction is going to be interesting in that team building theory and approach. And again, just what the receiver running back room looks like is also a big question for us as well.
Yeah, and I think that the line depth is something I'm going to pay close attention to in the first couple games for New Mexico, where they have some good names coming over from Vegas. You got Jackson on the defensive line, but overall, a lot of unproven talent that will be, again, wait and see. And they're going to hopefully they can see a little sooner than wait. Because they are a ton of great defensive lines in this Western Conference that they're going to be going up against week in and week out. And so hopefully the OL will be able to give Jerome some time to be able to work his magic.
I mean, and the good thing is they play Orlando this week, and then it's a step. They get a week off, and then they get a step back against Tucson, Northern Arizona, and Tucson again. So they get a little bit of a little bit of a lull, just where it's a less, not that those teams aren't good, but they're not Orlando. And that's all tuning up before a week 7 Vegas Nighthawks showdown, before another game at Jacksonville. And then they're in the IFL Cup in week 10 and 11. So busy stretch there in the middle of the year, heading out to the East Coast and from Florida to New Jersey. Yeah,
this New Mexico team, they're going to look great on the field. I'm excited to see the actual debut of the jerseys. I've only seen AI mock-ups, I think, so far. So that the field looks nice based on some of the pics that hit social last night. And it's looking like it's going to be a step up from what we are used to seeing in Albuquerque in terms of IFL football.
Mm-hmm. All right, 2 teams left. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, keep it in the Southwest. Let's just head right over to one of those teams you mentioned, Northern Arizona Wranglers. They're in a spot, too, where they're entering year 2 of the Ron James era, where Ron James was hired in October of 2024 for the 2025 season, which, if you know the indoor football calendar, that's a little late in the process. A lot of the free agency was already settled, and that was a big pain point for Northern Arizona last year, where a lot of the like linemen and depth that you would typically get in free agency and want to be vying for was already off the market by the time Ron James' staff got on. So that was a big point of emphasis this offseason for them, was to bolster that O-line and help give Ramon Atkins at quarterback some time to be able to make some plays. Because when Atkins is good, he is really, really good. But ultimately, he's the straw that stirs the drink for that offense, but you need some good ingredients there in order for that offense to taste good at the same time. So I like some of the things they got on that offense. Nolan Susel at running back, I love his game. He's a physical running back who should get a lot more action this year with David Elder heading over to San Diego. So I'd expect a heavy dose of Nolan Susel and Roman Atkins in that read option game.
Yeah, and I just think it's what Ramon Atkins do we get? Ramon wasn't the starter to start the year, closed out and missed some games as well. Caleb Lowe was mixed in there a little bit. So there's a lot of things, and it's just, can Naz, I think, one, keep him healthy and give him enough support where he can make things happen. We were talking a little bit where, Ramon Atkins had a bounce back in 2025 after a really rough 2024 where he was kind of miscast in Nashville before finally, he got hurt and they just kind of went away from him. But the arena game was always going to be tough for Ramon because he's a good passer. He's not, but he's a guy where you want to balance it. You want him passing, you want him throwing and running. So getting him in the IFL is a better fit for his skill set, and particularly with, the right coaching. I think James is good Lord, James. Yeah, James is going to be at Ron James. I had to think for a second. Is going to be better able. I wanted to say like Rob Jones, or just it's just a very just like blank name in Ron Jones. So
you would have gotten most of the letters right. So you would have been close.
I had most of the letters.
You had like 7 of the 8 letters, right?
Very key letters distinguishing. But Atkins really just can be that dynamic playmaker. We've seen him do it throughout his career. And hopefully with a year under his belt, the offense, some cohesion in the offense for Coach James. He could really be the guy, and he was the first guy they went out and re-signed, which I think speaks volumes to how Coach James feels about Atkins under center.
Yeah, they re-signed him before the 2025 season ended. Like the playoffs were still going on, and they re-signed him for 2026. So they obviously liked what he brought to the table, and being able to get QB1 in place from the jump is a much better start. So I think if you're looking at, I was gonna say, if you're looking at Northern Arizona at wide receiver, second straight year they've had an all IFL wide receiver leave for another team in the Western Conference. So Deshaun Stoudemire heading over to Vegas, and further bolstering a rich offense in Vegas. Who steps up to fill that void at wide receiver? You got a lot of young players coming in at wide receiver. Jordan Jakes. Is it Warren Newman III? Came over from Quad City. Is it Kylan Herrera? Like, somebody has to step up in the passing game, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's a couple of those people.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, you nailed it. Like, it's just, can Northern Arizona, like, they're a team that's had its moments, but has never really been able to string it all together year after year and really build on that. Can this be a year where keeping the quarterback allows them to take big steps forward in 2026?
Yeah, and a few years back when in their debut season had a really rough debut. I think they were 1-15 in their first year, but then the next year immediately turned things around and won the championship, right? So they did that with a really, really young roster. So heading into the season, there's reason to be optimistic. Coach Hendricks on the defensive side of the ball, that defense was better than they got credit for. The offense took a long time to get into shape. So yeah, this Northern Arizona team, I think they can improve upon last year and potentially surprise some people down the line.
Yeah. All right. And now our last team, the San Diego Strike Force. Not the only team playing in their, not the only arena team, 50-yard team playing in their arena. Yep. Only building being shared. Does that count as our off-field comment for the game?
Yeah, I'll count it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That was our one. That was a tame one.
Yeah.
That was
pretty good.
That was good for us.
42 minutes in. Good
Informative,
yeah.
and not loaded at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless the comments get unhinged, which they might.
They might, yeah. Well, speaking of loaded, you want to talk about loaded? Let's take a look at this roster for San Diego. I mean, you look at the skill position group at running back and wide receiver, and good Lord, this San Diego team. You got Ed Vander, #FeedVander, and David Elder at running back. You got a plethora of wide receivers in Jalen Sample, Dallas Daniels, Cole Blackman, Arthur Jackson III, Shane Hooks. Like, who do you take off the field? Like, you got to take one or two of those guys off the field at any given time. So they're going to have a nasty rotation, and that should be great for long-term availability because this is a 20-week season. And it's a very, very long indoor football season. And the defensive line depth, in my opinion, is very strong for the San Diego team as well. Wallace Collins rocks. He was awesome last year. Jackson Cravens was a very, very solid all-around defensive lineman. You got Rashawn Yates coming over from Arizona. So this San Diego team, there's lots to be excited about. And that's one of the reasons why I picked them in the IFL preview to win the IFL National Championship this year, because I just really think they have all the pieces in place to get over the hump.
Yeah. I mean, and we didn't even talk about the potentially biggest part of their roster, Nate Davis.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, Nate Davis may be 38, but we're talking about a guy who has consistently had 50-plus touchdowns just about every season of his arena career except his rookie year and the year he got hurt in 2022 with Duke City. So, outside of that, he's had 50-plus touchdowns in every single year. The dude can sling it through the air. Doesn't run like he used to, but that's okay. He doesn't need to do that because he's just carving people up with his arm. I mean, and he was second in yards per game last year, third in passing touchdowns with 49. So sorry, he only had 49 passing touchdowns last year.
God.
Down year for Nate Davis.
Yeah.
Number one in completion percentage, number one in yards, ahead of the Iowa Barnstormers, who were chucking it all over the yard.
They never ran it. So yeah, it's fair to be behind
them. Granted, he played 3 more games, but
yeah.
it's just Nate Davis is spectacular. He's going to go down as one of the greatest in the modern 50-yard game era. And so it's just, with a stronger team around him, how much can he elevate this roster?
Yeah, and when looking at Nate Davis, I think health has to come into effect as well, where he's missed time he's missed a couple games each of the past few seasons, and San Diego was fortunate enough to have Rudy Johnson behind him and playing running back and playing wide receiver, and he's able to step in at quarterback if needed. But they don't have that this year. Rudy Johnson's going across the hallway, so to speak, to the other dressing room in the arena for this upcoming year, and they got a rookie backing up Nate Davis and Davis Black. So you got Nate Davis and then Davis Black. Nate Davis
not going to confuse people at all.
Not at all. Not at all.
Davis in at quarterback to replace Davis.
Exactly. Just
Which
say Davis.
One?
Yeah, just say Davis and you'll be right.
Davis drops back. It's great. Just say Davis drops back and you're good.
You'll never lose. You'll never lose. Yeah. So quarterback health, I think, is going to be a big one. And if Nate can play the whole 16 game slate, but defensively, if we are looking for things to monitor, I think the defensive back experience is something to keep an eye on, where there's a lot of young DBs on this team with a couple veterans mixed in. You got Malik Jones coming over from Jacksonville, but multiple starters from 2025 are gone. And this is going to be the biggest question mark for me about this team is how do you replace that experience where Devin Hafford is over in Arizona now? Matt Elam is over in San Antonio now. Cyrus Fagan, I believe he's over in Arizona now. So you got lots of productivity in that secondary from last year that's gone, and you got to find some answers for it. So that could mean the Strike Force will live up to their name, and we're going to see a bunch of 60-50 games.
I love
all up and down the season. So that could be a good thing.
Give me the 100+ point games. They're the best.
That could be a result of that. So I love
when it's a 50-50 game than a 100-0 game.
Oh yeah. The 2 years ago, San Diego's opening game of the season was against San Antonio, 69-61. Nate Davis versus Sam Castronova, masterclass.
Can't beat it.
You want to see an offensive masterclass? Go back to week 2 of 2024. Unreal.
Yeah. So week 2 of the IFL season is here. We talked about all these teams. We got a lot less sure things this week.
Mm-hmm.
Lot less sure things this week. Lot less things we know. We got questions about Iowa. We got questions about Orlando. We got questions about New Mexico. We got questions about Naz. We feel good about San Diego, though.
Mm-hmm.
And we feel okay about Orlando.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel pretty good about Orlando. I saw a lot of folks
I don't know about pretty good. Pretty good's aggressive. Pretty good is aggressive. I've watched enough talented teams really struggle without a quarterback that I'm not going to say really good. Really good is a step I'm not necessarily willing to take.
Well, they had a similar situation with a really good roster last year with a question mark at quarterback, and they found a way to finish 7-9. So to me, the bar is not on the floor, but it's pretty close to the floor in terms of quarterback productivity. So if they get anything more,
they might be able to pull it off. It's true. So
they might be able to, yeah.
So we think San Diego's firmly in the playoff conversation this year. I think Orlando's going to be battling potentially for a 4 seed. They might.
Mm-hmm.
The East is tough. I mean, Green Bay and Fishers look like they're going to be if Green Bay can keep winning those games ugly like that.
Yeah.
Not that it's ugly for Arena. That was
they play blizzball. We call it blizzball colloquially on the Twitter sphere. That's blizzball.
Got it. So if they're going to play blizzball and win, that's going to be a pain for anybody to play. Additionally, I think Fishers looks like a wagon. Quad City, if they can get it solved, they're going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm worried that their offense disappeared in the second half. That is super concerning that they did nothing in the second half. And it's just, can they keep it together? Can Daquan Neal get his life in order? And I don't know if he can.
I think for Quad City, they got to get Jared Ware in the mix at running back a little earlier. I think he only had 2 touches on the ground. I think he might have caught 1 or 2 passes through the air, but they need to get him in the mix and take some of that running pressure off of Daquan Moore. He can do a lot. He's former league MVP. He's been doing this for a very long time, but you got to be able to take some of that off of him and also think about the long run of a 16-game season where you don't want him getting hit 15 times a game, because eventually that's gonna add up. So I think Quad City will be fine.
Yeah. You got to keep your quarterback up, right?
100%. Yeah.
All right, so we got good games this weekend. We got Iowa and Quad City Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern, on overnight. I think this is Quad City.
Yeah.
I feel very comfortable. We don't have lines yet, so we'll see what comes out tomorrow. But I think we're on under still. Yeah, I think we're still in the range where we're on unders, depending on where this one comes out.
Probably, yeah. I'd imagine this number would probably come out at like 80, 83.5, 84.5.
Yeah, so long as I think it's over like 78, I'm on the under. Once it gets to 78, I'm considering it, just because that's low. That's low. That's low. That's under 40.8.
That's about as low as an IFL total will get. I think the lowest I've ever seen was 76.5, and that was an ugly one. That was a bad one.
I would smash the over on 76.5 all day. Any team.
Yeah.
But I do think Quad City wins this one pretty comfortably. I think this is probably going to be like at least a touchdown spread when it comes out. I wouldn't be shocked if it was double digits.
Yeah, it seems like a 7.5, 8.5 in favor of Quad City at this point.
Yeah. Also on Saturday night, kicking off at 8 p.m., we got Fishers in Green Bay. So we can get one game ending just as the game of the night starts.
Beautiful.
This one, Blizzball takes on the Freight Train. It's going to be because Felix Harper looked really good and the Freight looked really good.
He looked great. Yeah.
I might be a little nervous if I'm Green Bay that Blizzball might not be enough, but it's another home game. Fans are hopefully going to show out in force for this one because they didn't get to go to the other one. So they get a new home opener. It's not often you get 2 home openers. But I'm going to lean Fishers just because the train's coming through and I don't want to be on the tracks. I don't want to be on the tracks standing in front of them.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, Fishers looks so good. I think the wide receiver tandem of JT Stokes, who was on this week's Off the Wall, if you haven't had a chance to check that out, and CJ Wyndham, that's such a great combination because it's a really pick your poison type of thing where it's like, okay, you're gonna have the safety shadow Wyndham. All right, JT's gonna get it on a short slant, right? So it's you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't with that. But this Green Bay defensive line was just so disruptive. So can they do that same thing? And like you said, do we see the return of Blizzball yet again? But it feels like Fishers is just got the hot hand right now, and I still have some of those question marks about Green Bay's offense.
Yeah. This one feels like Fishers by a touchdown as well. Just they went in and they handled business against Quad City.
100%. Yeah.
But this one feels like it could be, if it's Blizzball, we might be on the under for a while.
Green Bay unders might be resurrecting themselves after a year off.
Love it. Sunday at 4 p.m., we've got the Orlando Pirates and the New Mexico Chupacabras. The Chupacabras making their debut at home. That's exciting. And I don't know. Like, this is like 2 teams that have the opposite. Like, if I could combine these teams into a super team, this team wouldn't lose a damn game.
No.
But the Pirates need Jerome Johnson, and Jerome Johnson needs the Pirates.
Yeah.
Since they're opposites, anything could happen in this game.
This feels like a game where, to me, on paper, Orlando should comfortably handle this game. But the Pirates on the road in the Southwest historically doesn't really work out that way. So they had a rough swing out to Arizona last year where they lost to Northern Arizona and Tucson. And then the last time they were in the Southwest before that, they were in Vegas where they just got absolutely smacked in the IFL National Championship game. So Pirates will be looking to reverse some of that bad juju that they have in the Southwest U.S., but it feels like the Pirates should be in the driver's seat for this one as New Mexico kind of figures out who they are identity-wise on both sides of the ball.
I mean, depending on where this is, I think it could be around like 5.5. I like New Mexico to cover in this one. I don't know that they'll win, but I like the New Mexico cover.
Yeah.
Just because I think Jerome Johnson's going to come out and play really well. And this feels like a game where we're going to see two quarterbacks for the Pirates. If the Pirates win, I think they're going to come from behind in this one because I think whoever starts the game struggles and somebody else comes in. I think that feels like what this game is going to be.
Yeah, that's fair.
And Jerome Johnson's going to do Jerome Johnson things. He's going to have a good Jerome day. Good Jerome day.
I hope so. The league is better when Jerome Johnson is firing on all cylinders. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah. And then another week of Monday Night Football, 9 p.m. We got the Naz Wranglers and the San Diego Strike Force. And as much as I would love to see Ramon Atkins try to duel Nate Davis, I don't think he has the horses to do it. No. I think the Strike Force run away with this one pretty handily.
Yeah, the Strike Force they've got everything in place to make a run, but it starts in week 1, and I think they're in a spot where Northern Arizona still feels like they're figuring themselves out. Like we couldn't find a full complete roster, so maybe they're still figuring out roster stuff. But yeah, it feels like San Diego's going to comfortably win this one.
Yeah. All right, and then heading over to the NAL, we got one game that I think is going to be competitive and one game that I think is going to be a blowout.
Yeah, agreed.
I think Pueblo should handle business against Dallas as the Bulls come to town. Pueblo, it could be a little bit of a letdown spot, but I don't think they'll let down. I don't think Solo's going to let them do that. I think they handle business here. And then I think between the Beef and the Liberty, which Demery Croft shows up.
100%.
Which Demery Croft shows up, and can Salina get everything going? Like I think that's going to be a tight game. It's a rivalry. It's a rivalry renewed. But I'm just curious, what does the quarterback situation look like for both of these teams? I'm going to give the edge to Salina just because if Demery Croft still isn't healthy, Omaha, I don't think has a lot that they can do at quarterback. And his question mark is Salina's is. I think Salina has a lot more going on around their quarterback, and I think they have more pieces to make their offense go. Who knows? Maybe we see a lot of maybe Otis Odom gets on the field on offense and does something other than return kicks. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe, yeah. I think I agree with you on Dallas and Pueblo. Pueblo's just got the hot hand right now, and they're just clicking. But the Omaha Salina rivalry renewed at the old pizza box, the old Tony Pizza Events. It's Tony Pizza Event Center, right? Or is it?
Oh yeah, it's Tony's Pizza Event Center.
Tony Pizza Box. The T-Pack
Pizza Box.
Yeah, so the old T-Pack
You're welcome,
is going to be
world,
rocking.
for that nickname. You are welcome for that nickname.
the T-Pack's going to be rocking, and
it always is. It's a great venue.
Yeah, I would probably lean towards Salina in this one, just because of the home advantage there. And Omaha offensively, last week, like I know they didn't have their guy in there. They didn't have Demery Croft in, but still, it seems like they should have been able to do a little bit more, and it just wasn't there. So we haven't really seen Salina either because their non-league game wasn't streamed on the NAL network. So we don't know what we're walking into with Salina either. So it's a battle of we have no clue what we got with Salina versus that was rough with the backup QB who's no longer on the team. Yeah. Which wins, right?
Yeah. And so, looking ahead a little bit, we'll be back next week. Probably try to do our normal Wednesday time slot. That one felt very comfortable doing. We might try to get back there. I was a little hectic week for me, so trying to get this locked out. I promised Trey I'd be a better co-host to him and get our schedule a little more locked down and prepped. We got 5 IFL teams to preview next week, and then the week after, we will start in on an AF1 preview. We got to do most of AF1 the next week because they got a busy week coming up in about a month. So exciting times. We'll have all 3 leagues rocking and rolling here in under a month. AF1 teams report to camp, so that's super exciting.
Oh yeah.
Trey, feeling good, man. And everybody, don't forget, go get your Buds, your Brews Buds Ball merch, available in the store. Maybe we'll do another promo code, and we'll keep that rocking and rolling. So, Trey, any parting words? Anything you need to plug?
No, it's going to be a very fun weekend of football ahead. Very excited to dive into it and to watch it on NAL Network, Yahoo, and overnight. So get to experience the trifecta on Saturday and get a feel for all of that. But check out the latest episode of Off the Wall. I mentioned it earlier. We had JT Stokes from the Fisher's Freight scored the first touchdown of the IFL season. Fun trivia question for you to put in the back pocket. Fun conversation with him.
No, not fun enough. First touchdown on the IFL on Yahoo.
There you go.
That's the trivia question right there. We're going to be asking that in 20 years when Yahoo is the sports content powerhouse. Who scored the first live points on Yahoo Sports?
The first touchdown.
We're all going to know. True ball knowers will know the first sporting event and the first man to score points.
That's right.
On that network.
JT Stokes, baby. Yeah, so check out that episode if you haven't already. And got some fun stuff coming down the pike on social. So at Off the Wall FB, F as in foot, B as in ball.
He's Trey, I'm Adam, and we will see you next week.
Yeah, you win some, you lose some, and sometimes you just mess it all up. So CBS 7 kickoff is deep, and it's going to be off the net. It's going to be grabbed by Isaiah Scott. Isaiah Scott makes one man miss handle.
Takes it to the near side. Stop. 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown. Mike.
Walks it right in. Play on that ball right over top of the defender. And more see the replay here. He put Caleb Smith in motion with Jonathan Banks. Just do a little swing pass. And Caleb Smith with the rest.
There. He's got a lane in the middle if he can get past him. And he might be good for a touchdown. There it is. And wow! Trayvon Sidney straight down the middle. Pulls a move on the kicker. And he's in the end zone.